The purpose of today is for us to know you better and for you to know what to expect from UCT. We don't take lightly the fact that you've made and stopped everything to come and grace us with your presence. I have no doubt that you are here, and I can see from your faces that you are beaming with pride. You are so proud of your daughters and sons to have made it to UCT. And as UCT, we don't take it lightly, the fact that you have made us your university of choice. We are very grateful for that because you had many options. Some of you, besides looking nationally, would have taken your kids elsewhere, overseas, but you chose us. Today is the day that the different speakers are going to showcase and let you know that as you have supported your child to this far, that support is not about to end. We need it more because there's nothing in partnering with you in the development and the career path and the future of your child. We need both these elements. You need us as the UCT for our academic excellence. You need us as UCT for being the home away from home of your child. We are going to be, as far as we possibly can, be your parents, be your daughters and sons' parents in your absence. I want to end by saying, we are very privileged. And please clap for yourselves for supporting your child from grade 0 to grade 12, and for them to excel, to be able to be accepted and get an academic offer at UCT. Clap your hands now for that. We as UCT congratulate you as well for your child's achievement, because you are not a silent partner. I want to believe that. So we want you to continue. We've got various offices that are going to take care of your child. Even if your child is from home, 8 hours, she's going to be on campus. So we will be taking part in shaping his future. Thank you very much. Without further ado, let me first explain that the Vice-chancellor, Professor Pakeng, will be joining us later. So I am about to call now the Registrar of the University of Cape Town. He is responsible for the policies of this institution. If anything goes wrong, the buck will stop at his office. He is the custodian of everything, the policies, the discipline. You're going to have to know his office. Hopefully there will be no disciplinary issues. There will be good news all the way that we'll need you to contact his office. I am now calling upon Royston Pillay, the Registrar of the University of Cape Town.
Thank you, Cindy. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, parents. Good morning, guardians. It's a beautiful day today in Cape Town. Welcome to the University of Cape Town. UCT is very pleased to host you here today, and thank you for coming to spend some time to spend with us. In making your decision, or making the decision to register at UCT, you and your son, your daughter, would already have done your research about the University of Cape Town, so I take it that you already know pretty much about UCT. So I do not wish to convey information that you may already know, except to make reference to a few facts that you may find interesting. UCT is South Africa's oldest university, having started in 1829 as a school for boys. Now, we've come a long way since, with women making up just over 52% of the student body of UCT today. We are the alma mater to 5 Nobel laureates. By South African standards, we are a medium-sized university, just under 29,000 students. We have 6,700 beds in our residence system, and the campus size, including the satellite campuses in observatory, where we have our health sciences faculty, in gardens, where we have fine art and drama, the waterfront, where we have the business school, and Philippi, where we have the solution space of the business school. This university has an extent of just over 25 square kilometers. And our Jamie shuttle buses travel in the region of 1 million kilometers per year. Now, your child's main purpose while at UCT is to learn, is to grow, and is to flourish. And of course, the academics will play a critical role in this regard. The rest of the university will support your child. And the administration of this institution, which is very large, very wide, very expansive, in carrying out its task of running and administering the policies of this university, has one overarching goal. One overarching goal. And it is this: to have the pleasure of providing a seat for you and your child in this very hall during a graduation ceremony over the next 3 to 6 years, depending on the program of study that your child has been admitted for. But before then, there is certainly much to be done. Most immediately, we will ensure that your child is registered in an appropriate study program, the one for which he or she has been granted an offer, that your child gets the curriculum advice as needed, and that your child is orientated and familiarized with this campus, and is guided to navigate his or her way through the many and varied processes of the university. And in short, to be given every opportunity to be successful. So as Cindy had made reference earlier on, the Registrar's Department has the task of administering the student disciplinary codes and the apparatus in that regard of this university. So rules do exist. They exist, there are many, and they are published. They're not hidden, they are published. But I mention this not with the intention to emphasize that which is punitive, which is typically what all of us as human beings tend to understand by rules. We see it for the punitive side of rules. But I mention this, in fact, to make the point that the rules are informed by the values of the university, on the one hand, and on the other hand, through the application of those rules to uphold those values. Those values being the values of truth, the value of fairness, of compassion, and respect. Rules also tend to be read very explicitly in terms of what they do not allow you to do. But more positively, rules should be read implicitly in terms of what they actually allow one to do and what they actually facilitate and enable. We certainly understand that at this particular time, and it will go on for a little while, I would imagine, that parents are particularly anxious about incidences and reports across the higher education sector, universities, post-school organizations typically, concerned about incidences of initiation. Now, at UCT, we're unambiguous on this. We have not and we will not tolerate any form of initiation. And in doing that, and in taking that very hard line and firm position on the issue of initiation, we are actually underscoring important values, and the important value in treating others in ways that are not demeaning. So while there are rules around conduct, rules and protocols that apply in respect of meeting the requirements to write exams, you have to meet requirements to write exams. You can't just go and write an exam. University life is most certainly also about fun. The Campus Life 2019 publication that you have a copy of in the packs that you received this morning will give you some indication of that. So I urge you to please browse through those publications. It includes testimonies of students, information about how to get around, maps of the campus, how to get connected, particularly in today's very, very connected world. So to stay connected in a multimedia environment, study tips, information about sports clubs and societies, and detail of the kind of help that is on hand if needed. So there's lots to be enthused about. And I can assure you that the plaza, which is the area immediately outside this Sarah Baartman Hall, is a place of pulsating energy of young people on a day-to-day basis. It's a fantastic space right outside. So while this is the start of a greater degree of independence for your child, it's very, very important, and Cindy made this point earlier on, that she still needs you. But I also want to emphasize the point that we here at UCT, we need you to provide the support that only you can as parents, whether you are a Cape Town-based parent or whether you're from outside of Cape Town or the Greater Western Cape. The year starts late in relation to a typical start of a school year, which many of you, particularly if you're first-time parents of university students, would be experiencing for the first time. But once the year starts, it proceeds rapidly. And given that pace, students can often be tripped up. They stumble at one or another stage, even in cases where they might have been the top student at their school. There may be issues around curriculum choice, inappropriate choice of study, the temptation to miss a lecture, or 2, or 3 on the same day. So it is also about getting used to and being smart about managing the freedom that comes with university life. So our appeal to you is to please to stay in touch with your child, and for those who are out of town in particular, to find ways to provide some degree of long-distance support. It is our experience that many students, they need the support, but they typically don't ask for it, particularly if they've done particularly well at school, which all the students who've been admitted to UCT are in that situation. They've done well at school. That's the reason they're here. So there's this reluctance often to ask for assistance. Students have to be encouraged to ask for assistance. And that assistance could come from a warden in a residence, a curriculum advisor in the faculty, the professional staff in the Department of Student Affairs or Academic Administration, including health counseling services and the services of our international office. So these services are available. We are alerting you to this, and we are appealing to you to encourage your students, your children, our students, to access those services. Now, there's one question that I want to just focus on a little bit, because we often get asked by parents to provide information about the academic progress and results of their children. Perfectly understandable. We can understand those concerns, and sometimes we can understand those anxieties, and we certainly understand the good intentions behind such requests. But at this particular point in time, it is a very, very small proportion of our new students who are entering as undergraduate students this year who are still 17 years old. In the next 2 to 3 months, everybody who's a first-year student at this university will be 18. Now, that's an important point, because they are no longer minors, and we have to recognize that, and we have to regard information that is peculiar to a particular student who's no longer a minor is that student's information. We regard it as confidential, and we will not release that information unless the student has given explicit written permission to us to do so, even if it is to the parent. All right? It is, I recognize the reaction here. There is a way around it, and the way around it is in terms of the agreements that you make with your children about how to manage that situation. So I urge you to negotiate at an early point an arrangement with your child about how he or she will keep you informed. The University of Cape Town is a very large organization. We are a community of over 35,000 people, staff and students included, and there are multiple complex administrative systems and services that underpin the operation of this organization. Of course, we aim to get it right, and we strive to make improvements, but we do have challenges. It's inevitable with an operation of this size, and we recognize that. And our invitation to you is to let us have your feedback. Let us know how we can do better. So in closing, let me take you back to an earlier comment that students are here to have a well-rounded educational experience, beyond merely earning a degree. A professor once somewhat said, tongue-in-cheek, that she never allowed university to interfere with her education. So while your son or daughter will go on to earn a BA and a BSc and an MBCHB and their whole string of others, it is worth remembering that their purpose here at this university is much more than that. It extends to also learning the wider lessons of life, represented metaphorically by all the other letters of the alphabet, underscoring our fundamental belief that a well-rounded education will better prepare your child for the world that he or she will enter when they leave this university in 3, 4, 5, 6 years' time. Welcome to UCT. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pillay, for that inspiring talk. He left one thing, that the contract with UCT is with the student. So don't call us and ask for the results. Your child must tell you the results. All we want from you is payment. At this point, we have an important element of university life. And that element is going to be shared to you and your daughters. I saw some parents have brought their special people along. Some have not, but they're going to get the message when they are here. And just in passing, I was talking to a father, very anxious father. This father wants to remain here at UCT for the next week. Once we get your child on Monday, forget about your child. Don't postpone your next week's meeting, because after Monday, leave UCT. Live wherever you are closer. So don't panic about your meetings, Daddy. Just leave as early as Tuesday. We will take care of your child, and she will not need you anymore. At that point, I'm calling the person who's very relevant, who was at some point in the recent past, was also a first-year student at UCT. She is here to share now her experience with you, to allay your fears, to allay your anxiety, like the father that I've just mentioned. She is the one that has the knowledge of how we as university value your sons and daughters that are about to start. Thank you very much. Over to you. This is the SRC president, our princess, Asanda Lubelo.
Okay, good morning, everyone. To our lovely program director, thank you for that wonderful introduction. Firstly, allow me to greet all of you and welcome you to UCT this morning. We thank you for your time, taking time out of your day. Some had to take leave off of work to join us here, and I hope that we collectively make this experience worth your while and worth your time. And to also reassure you that UCT is indeed the best university in Africa. So my name is Asana Lobelo, and I am doing my final year, thank God, at UCT in economics and finance. And it has been a long and a trying journey at UCT, which is why I found this opportunity particularly important to engage with parents, because sometimes I feel often students don't have support from home, which contributes to why it takes them so long to leave this place. So hopefully this cohort of parents can be that cohort of supportive, understanding, and concerned parents. And note, I say supportive and not overbearing. So to tell you a little bit about myself, I come from Johannesburg. I started my journey at UCT in 2015. I'm doing BBA analytics. Okay, so to give you background, right, around my story, I had struggled to finish matric in 2014 because somewhere in the middle I was diagnosed with depression, right? And so I had difficulty adjusting to the life of taking medication, and I went through a very transitional period, so it took me a lot to finish matric. And then I got accepted into UCT, and by myself, I decided I'm going to stop taking my medication, because every time I took a pill, it felt like a little bit of my dignity left my body. And so, fast forward to my second year at UCT, someone living with depression, not on medication. At the end of 2016, I failed computer science for the second time, and I was given an FEC concession to change programs within my faculty, right? So I chose to go into organizational psychology. And having the type of mother that I had, she didn't ask me why. She just started Googling the career paths I could take with this new degree. And in 2018, so last year, I realized it was not for me, right? And I switched for the final time to economics and finance. And my mother's response to me, and I quote, "Thank God, you were not going to be making any money and you were going to be doing psychometric tests and stuck in HR your whole life," right? So I laughed, but I appreciated that she allowed me to come to that realization on my own, because she was prepared to support me in my career choice, understanding that it would be mine for the rest of my life. Mine and not ours. So I felt that it was important to share that part of my story, to emphasize that everyone will have a different experience of UCT, right? Some will leave in record time in that 3 or 4 years. Some will take an extra year. Some will discover Longstreet and go through a transitional period of balancing school and fun. Some will face some of the most difficult times that they will face in their lives, including and not limited to mental illness, identity crises, etc., etc. But I want to throw the ball into your court as parents on how you can support your loved ones through this journey and not to add to their stress, right? So now what they actually asked me to come speak to you about, student life and student governance. So what they asked me to come to you today, firstly, I was introduced. I'm the president of the SRC, which is the Student Representative Council. It is the highest body of decision-making body at UCT of student governance. And we offer advocacy and sometimes support to students, but broadly we're here to try and improve the student experience at UCT. So part of that journey that students will embark on is holistic development. Well-rounded graduates should be the objective of any institution of higher learning, and part of that development lies in student governance, joining societies and clubs, joining development agencies such as UCT Radio, Shoko, Varsity News, RAG. And even though I do not personally encourage it, going to Longstreet and making those bad decisions, right? Because it's an opportunity of growth. And exploring at least one of these avenues in addition to your academics will make sure that someone leaves this institution not only with a degree, but with a whole lot of other skills and lessons that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So student governance offers students many opportunities of development of their leadership skills through various structures. So in the residences, we have house committees. In the faculties, which have a more of an academic function, we have faculty councils. And then, of course, we have the SRC, as well as society committees and committees of development agencies. And so apart from developmental opportunities, students have many opportunities to engage academically with their tutors, their peers, their lecturers around course content. Because while it is important to be well-rounded, it is also important to focus on that ultimate prize, which is that qualification. And as my favorite residence warden always says in his speeches around this time of year, you are here to get your degree in university and not your degree in Longstreet. So, to the students who are here, I wish you all the best of luck on your journey at UCT. May you grow and learn and develop into that well-rounded graduate that we know you can be. Some of you will encounter failure along your way, but even that is an opportunity of growth because how you handle it determines what happens next. To the parents, I wish you too the best of luck on your journey with UCT and not at UCT. And I feel it's important to emphasize the with because we have encountered some parents in the short time we have been in office who often feel that they are indeed too attending this university and going through it all with their children. So with UCT, may you provide the love and support that your loved ones need. It's not easy, because it was never meant to be, especially not at the best university in Africa. And some will leave here after 5 years. And only you can determine whether you will add to that difficulty or whether you will help your loved ones carry the load, be it emotionally, academically, financially, or mentally. And on that note, let me thank you for your time and give back to the program director. Thank you.
Thank you, Asanda. In the interest of time, I'm not going to comment about her speech and add anything aside from just saying, in our view, we are simply the best. You can judge us and give us feedback, constructive feedback we want. We don't only want positive. You can give us both, but as long as it is constructive. In this relationship that we're starting today, we will expect that from you as well. Without further ado, I now call upon the Vice-chancellor of the University of Cape Town, Professor Phokpakeng. Over to you, Prof.
Good morning. I'm so delighted to be here. If you're following me on social media, you'll know that this time yesterday I was in Switzerland. I landed 2 hours ago. I couldn't miss this opportunity because today is the 209th day since I took office as Vice-chancellor of the University of Cape Town. So actually, you're the first group of parents that I'm welcoming to UCT. So I thought this is a first for me, but I thought there are many firsts. It's also the first time we're welcoming students in the Sarah Bartman Memorial Hall. So it's the first parents. We haven't welcomed parents on an orientation in this hall after its renaming in December. So I didn't want to miss the moment, so I'm delighted to be here. Molweni, good morning, Maneru, Ujambo, Goye, More. Dumelang Sanbonani. A very warm welcome to you, our new students, and to parents and guardians of the University of Cape Town. At last, you're here. We've been eagerly waiting to welcome you and looking forward to your infectious energy, high spirit, chatter, and laughter. I hope you're impressed by what you see around you. Welcoming, friendly support staff, lovely buildings, impressive facilities, comfortable residences. I hope you've been to residences. I'm assuming they've been to residences in the last week. And beautiful gardens and lawns. Of course, it's been a long journey for you to finally arrive at UCT. You've all worked very hard, and I'm sure you've had many, many people since students got their matric results, have been congratulating you, your parents have been congratulating, other parents have been congratulating you as parents for raising your kids as you have. But of course, some of the students who are here have also had to overcome difficult personal problems and great economic and social hardships. But you are here now, and we are pleased that you chose to study at UCT. Of course, your such success is also testimony to the contributions and support of your teachers, your families, and guardians. I also recognize the sacrifices that your families and guardians will make to enable you to obtain a UCT education and degree. So parents, thank you for sending your child to us. We consider it a great honor that you have entrusted your children's future to UCT. And I want to assure you that any student who comes to UCT is our child too. In fact, I'm the designated deputy mother of all the students in this university. I know that on social media, students in other universities claim me for that too. They say I'm their deputy mother as well. Don't tell them. The truth is that only students at UCT can call me deputy mother. But in the Twitter streets, don't argue with them. Just allow them to call me deputy mother. But you've got the benefit of having me here on campus with you. So as your child's deputy mother, parents, I make this commitment. We will do all we can as a university to help your child to succeed academically. We'll also work hard to make sure that you gain the kind of advice and experience that will help them to enter their chosen career and make the world a better place. To students, congratulations on choosing UCT as the university at which to pursue your higher education. You have made an excellent choice, one which you and your family will confirm during the years that you spend with us. I congratulate you on being admitted to UCT. I don't know if they have told you, but we had close to 32,000 applications, and we have only 4,200 places. Just imagine the task that we had. We had to choose 4,200 students out of 32,000. This is how competitive it is to come to UCT. And this is just the figures for 2019. So it is no small achievement just to get accepted to UCT. We are all very proud of you, and you have every right as a student who's been accepted here to be proud of yourself too. And parents, by entrusting your children to us, you become an important part of UCT as well. Throughout the year, I'll be emailing you UCT update newsletters to keep you informed about campus life. I know every parent has got questions about university life and how it will prepare your child for the future. Our orientation program is an exciting introduction to campus life. We help students find their way around, get the feel of the study options they can choose, find out how to access the many support resources we offer, make friends at social gatherings, and begin to feel at home here, whether they live in residence or off campus. But before I go any further, let me briefly share with you what the purposes of a university are. Because it's important that parents and students understand why we exist as a university. Because many students will come here, they'll gain a variety of experiences. Whether they get a degree or not, they'll go out with some education. So we don't exist to introduce them to Long Street, but they will get access to Long Street and many other things. So I thought, let me just spend just a few minutes to tell you what's the purpose of a university. Our first purpose is to produce knowledge so that we can better understand our natural and social worlds and also enrich our scientific and cultural heritage. This means that we test the inherited knowledge of earlier generations. We also dismantle the mumbo-jumbo that masquerades as knowledge. We reinvigorate knowledge and we share our findings with others. We undertake research into the mysteries and hidden secrets of life and the most theoretical and intractable uncertainties of knowledge. At the same time, we also strive to apply our discoveries for the benefit of humanity. We operate both we operate on both the short and the long horizon. On the one hand, we grapple with urgent and contemporary problems and seek solutions to those. On the other hand, we delve into issues and undertake inquiries that may not appear immediately relevant to others, but have the proven potential to yield great future benefit for humanity. So when you hear that we're doing research that's not relevant, it just means it's not applicable now. There's no telling that 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, it will not be relevant. If you like, you can check the emergence of X-rays, how it came into being. It wasn't applicable immediately, the science that was found there, but you can Google it and learn for yourself. So as a university, our job is not to be utilitarian, but our job is knowledge. And sometimes the knowledge that we explore might seem irrelevant, but it's important for the future. Most of what we do is important and applicable for the now. The second purpose of a university is to disseminate knowledge and to develop critical and creative minds. Our goal must be for you, as students, to think imaginatively, effectively, and critically, to achieve depth in some field of knowledge. We also want our students to appreciate how we gain knowledge and understanding of the universe, of society, and of ourselves. We want them to have a broad knowledge of other cultures and other times. Students are not just here to accept what's written in books. That's not what university is about. They read books, but they don't read it just to accept it. We want them to critique ideas, to critique views and construct alternatives, and to communicate convincingly, orally, and in writing. Our final purpose as a university is to be socially responsive. Whether this is as part of academic courses or as part of the students' voluntary participation in community engagement projects, it is important that our staff and students are socially responsive, and that's what makes us as a university an engaged university. So by being at UCT, you commit yourselves to the pursuit of knowledge and understanding as vital means to self-betterment and the betterment of humankind. I know that for many parents, when we send a child to university, all we want is for them to get a degree and get out, and that's okay. But university life, however, is not all about studying. We know it's important for students to explore different interests, discover skills they didn't know they had, and have a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So we offer a wide choice of activities for them to participate in. And these include almost 40 sporting clubs that we have here at UCT. We also have more than 100 student societies and organizations that reflect a wide range of interests and opportunities to volunteer for organizations such as Shoko, where your child can help make a lasting social impact. Student needs have changed a lot since you and I were at university. For instance, I know everybody in this room feels the effect of rising costs of education. But here at UCT, we don't let finances limit the opportunities for students who have the potential to thrive at university. So we make financial assistance available through our Student Financial Aid Office. First-year students on NSFAS financial aid will receive free laptops from UCT so that they can use the many online learning resources that are available. And yes, we know that they will not only use them for academic purposes, but that's okay. We also support students from middle-income homes through our GAP funding scheme for households earning between 350,000 rands per annum and 600,000 rands per annum for first-time entering students, and between 122,000 per annum and 600,000 per annum for existing students. And I think we are the only university that provides that kind of financial assistance to GAP students who go outside the NSFAS bracket. I don't think any other university provides this kind of support. It is important that you know that UCT's tuition fee is all-inclusive. And because it's all-inclusive, when you look on paper, it looks more expensive than other universities. But let me tell you something. We don't charge additional fees for services such as Wi-Fi, libraries, computer centers, the Jamie Shuttle transport services, lab materials, facilities for students with disabilities. All of those costs can add up to quite a lot at other universities. But we want all our students to have full access to whatever they need to thrive in their studies, irrespective of their socio-economic background. And that's why we include everything in the fees, so that when students are doing architecture, for example, and they're given a project, then it doesn't depend on them to buy the materials for the project. They all get the same, so everyone get an equal opportunity. You don't have to have a lot of money to produce a super special project. Anyone gets the opportunity to do that, and we think it's important. So when you hear the story that we are more expensive than others and others look cheaper, go online, add the costs, and you'll see what they get to. We want equity, and that's why we do things the way we do them. We are also aware of the stresses students face today. This is true around the world, so we offer student wellness services, early assessment, and mental support for all students, with emphasis on vulnerable students. Last year, we adopted a new student mental health policy because we recognize the effect emotional distress can have on a student's quality of life and academic success. And by the way, we make free counseling support available to UCT staff as well, because mental stress can affect anybody. It is not something to be ashamed of. Of course, a caring community also reaches out to support people with physical, mental, or learning disabilities. Our Disability Service Office works with faculties to ensure students have full access to the assistance they need. We adopted the inclusivity policy for sexual orientation during our annual Rainbow Week in 2018. And last August, I introduced 3 new research initiatives to help us rethink our view on gender in South Africa and in Africa. 2 of those initiatives focus on women, but the third one, we entitled it Scholarship for Reimagining Gender. You and I, adults, know that the gender identity spectrum is much wider than just male, female, and gay. If your child thinks the options are limited because she's a woman, or because your child does not identify with binary gender pronouns, we are prepared to help disprove that idea. We want our graduates to be judged on their unique gifts, their excellence, and not how they fit into preconceived notions of how they should be. My goal for UCT is that we do not remain simply a university, but that we offer everybody who comes here a place in our community, a place where we value each other, even coming from different points of view. And let me be clear that here at UCT, there are no first or second-class students and people. And there is no place for racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, or any other kind of chauvinist behavior. Everyone is treated equally and equitably. Your race, your gender, your sex, nationality, previous school, religion, first language, the suburb you come from, the make or model of your car, the size of your monthly stipend, your political ideology and affiliation, status and wealth of your parents give you no special rights or privileges at UCT. Here at UCT, we are guided by the values of the South African Constitution and Bill of Rights: respect for human dignity, human rights, equality, non-sexism, and non-racialism. Everyone here at UCT, other students, academics, wardens, technicians, secretaries, cleaners, and garden staff, deserves respect and dignity. Even the Jamie drivers deserve it. UCT belongs to all of us and is a home for all. So to all the men joining UCT, here's a message for you to share with others who are not here. Well, to take for yourself first, and then share with others who are not here. There is absolutely no place here at UCT for despicable, offensive, and violent conduct against women. And we will not, under any circumstance, tolerate such conduct. If you do engage in such conduct, you will be prosecuted. And to young women who are joining us at UCT, do not allow anyone to subject you to any abuse. Have the courage to report such conduct with the confidence that we will act. Report it as soon as it happens. Do not wait for it to happen the second time. Sexual assault is a problem around the world. We at UCT have established the Sexual Assault Response Team to provide a better mechanism to respond to and prevent sexual violence on campus, and to ensure that survivors can access compassionate care. Hunger is also a problem for some students from disadvantaged communities. And last year, the Food Security Task Team organized a UCT food security program during final exams. This year, we will work on a long-term sustainable project to help students who need food during the academic year. This is an investment not only into their future, but into the future they will help to create for South Africa and the entire continent. One way you can support your child as a parent is to make sure that they are aware of all these services that we offer and how to access them. Much of this information is available through our dedicated student portals. Student portal, and the address is student.uct.ac.za. We, as UCT staff, do all we can to help students succeed in any their degree, but support from home is also important. Never assume that your child is smart enough to cope on their own. Never assume that simply because they've been a distinction student throughout their 12 years of basic education, then it is automatically going to happen again at university. The challenges are different here, and your child needs your support more now than ever before. Of course, the reason why your child is here is to receive an education from one of the world's leading universities. UCT remains the #1 university in Africa in the most important world university rankings. And I hope that you will join me in celebrating UCT's jump of 15 places from position 171 to position 156 in the 2019 Times Higher Education World University Rankings. I'm proud that we have maintained our position as the best university in Africa. All our faculties have global reputations. Since we are a research-intensive university, we have a high proportion of postgraduate students, and in 2018, about 39% of our students were postgraduate students, and over 70% of our faculty staff members have PhDs. This is the highest number of academics with PhDs in any university in this country. This means that your children will learn from recognized experts in their fields of study. Our top scientific minds keep shining. They dominate award ceremonies. They get the highest awards, not only in the country, but also internationally. But we do more than awards. And here's just one example of how UCT research can put a student on the road to making the world a better place. Last year, civil engineering student Suzanne Lambert made world headlines when she developed the world's first bio-brick grown from human urine. This is a paradigm shift in how we view waste and the sustainability of our construction industry. And it was done by a student, a female student at that. Also, last year, 51 of the Mail and Guardian's top 200 young South Africans came from UCT. And this is a remarkable indicator of how UCT students graduates, and staff members have a positive impact on society. And this, parents, is the institution that your child is coming into and the opportunity that they will have to become the top in the world. It is not enough that we are a leading institution today. We need to ensure that UCT will lead the charge to understand and manage the changes that the rapidly unfolding world, the challenges that are rapidly unfolding in our world. So I have set up a futures think tank to consider how what we do as a university and how we do it may be affected by the rapid changes that are happening currently in our world. And if you've been watching the news, you'd know that the agenda at the World Economic Forum this year was also about the fourth industrial revolution and how the rapid changes that are happening in the world will affect many aspects of our lives. Higher education and basic education being some of those, and I spoke at some of those panels at Davos. That's why I just came in this morning. So we as a university awoke to the challenges and have set up this think tank and are working on doing things differently to make sure that our students are prepared for the future. As you know, last year this time, Cape Town was facing the prospect of day zero, the day we would run out of water as a city. And long before that drought was recognized, UCT researchers were advising the province and the city on the prospects of our water usage. We're doing similar work with other agencies on other changes that are forecast in the not-so-distant future. Our new Leading Scholars program, which will run until 2030, will focus on student leadership and student entrepreneurship. We see your children not just as potential graduates, but also as future leaders. And as an institution, we encourage them to be social justice advocates, to be alive to the challenges in our society, active citizens and community leaders who will work towards the improvement of our country. We encourage critical thinking because we know your children will need that skill to help shape the world around them. All our initiatives here at UCT demonstrate our leadership as a proudly African university, bringing African creativity to help solve global problems. For too long, the world has seen our continent only as a place of need, but we are also a place of rich cultural diversity. And that is what students and staff bring to UCT, to our research and to our teaching and learning. As an institution with global credibility, we aim to change not only our campus, but also South Africa. And beyond that, we want the world to see the excellence that can come out of the African continent. This is an important part of transformation, for Africans to become part of the answer to the problems we share with the world. Because the rest of the world is also dealing with rising inequality, it's dealing with urbanization, and questions about sustainability under climate change. An important goal that I have whilst I'm Vice-chancellor is to reclaim the university as a place for ideas, a place where people from different backgrounds, with different ideologies, different cultural beliefs, can share the space without forcing the other to believe what they believe. This is a university and not a church. So nobody should be forced to take on a political ideology they do not want to take on, or even an intellectual view that they do not agree with. They are welcome to critique it. That's how intellectual spaces operate. So when you see contestations happen about knowledge on social media at UCT, do not worry that there's contestation of intellectual ideologies. That's fine. My role as Vice-chancellor is to ensure that they happen in the environment of respect for others, but that everyone can be heard and they can critique any other knowledge system irrespective of where it comes from. UCT is an unapologetically African institution that is globally competitive. We currently have about 29,000 students, and at the moment, like in 2018, I should say, 5,000 of those students were international students from over 100 countries. We educate our students to be global citizens, prepared for the international workplace and life in multicultural societies. So while we are responsive to the challenges of our country and our continent, it is also important that our agenda and our outlook is not just national, but it is also international. It is for this reason that we recruit international students and staff to make sure that our graduates are not only experts in their fields of study, but they can also hold their own anywhere in the world. That is important. We don't want to educate students who are only confident in the African continent or only confident on African issues. We want them to be global scholars, and they should be able to hold their own anywhere in the world. So having such a multicultural campus is a strength, and nobody should see it as a weakness. And I urge you to encourage your children to make the most of it, because being able to relate with people from different cultures will come in handy when they leave university and start their careers. You don't want your kids to see someone from outside the continent for the first time after their graduation. They can get it here. So welcome to UCT, parents. This is your university. As I remind alumni every time I go around the country and the continent and the world talking to alumni, I say to the alumni, UCT doesn't belong to me as a vice-chancellor. It doesn't belong to council. It belongs to all of us. It belongs to alumni, it belongs to students, it belongs to academics, professional and support staff, to the entire community of Cape Town and the country. And it belongs to you, the parents and supporters of our students. UCT is your university. If you never had a child at UCT, and this is your first child, I encourage you to pay keen interest. Write to us if there's something worrying you. But also speak well of us. Institutions never become great on their own. We make them great. We make them great by acknowledging them when they do something that's great. Of course, we also make them great by critiquing them if they can do something better. Faculty officers and colleagues in the Department of Student Affairs are available to assist if you have any question or concerns about your child's academic performance or welfare. The UCT website, uct.ac.za, and Facebook pages give daily updates on campus news and events. Your orientation package contains useful contact details for UCT. Please, please, please don't throw it away. Take it home and keep it handy. You might just need it one day. If your child needs help, we want to know about it because we have all kinds of assistance available. We recognize that even for students with top grades, adjusting to the academic discipline of a university environment can be difficult. We do not want any student to feel that this is a sign of failure. First-year students, especially, may not be used to asking for help with their studies or finding out what they need to know to choose a possible career. Every faculty has services to assist students who may have difficulty getting into their stride, but they need to ask. Students often want to be independent, especially in their first-year at varsity. But that doesn't mean you as a parent cannot be involved. This is the time for you as a parent to show a deeper interest in your child's academic life, their social life, and well-being at UCT. I welcome you all to UCT, and I welcome your involvement, and I'm so pleased to see you here. Please enjoy the day, but also continue to be in contact with us in every which way, because this is your university. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice-Chancellor, Professor Pakeng. And this marks now the end of this first session. And before we adjourn, we are not going to adjourn, actually. You're going to remain in this hall. Before we do that, can we give a hand and thank my wonderful eloquent speakers on my left here with a round of applause. As they leave the stage, VC, you may leave the stage if you wish so, and the Registrar and the SRC President. With the remaining people now, I'm going to call upon Ms. Edwina Brooks, the Director of Student Development in the Department of Student Affairs, to take you into the second half of the program and introduce the new set of speakers. Thank you very much.
Good morning, parents. A very warm welcome to the University of Cape Town. The next session, we're just going to be spending some time with you to go into some of the detail of some of the services that we have here at the university. So I just would like to call up all the speakers who are going to be joining me on the stage and who are going to be addressing the parents, if they could please come up on the stage. Thank you, and as you can give them a hand as they come up. Thank you very much to my colleagues, and thank you very much to you, Cindy, as the program director of the previous session. And as Cindy has said, my name is Edwina Brooks, and I'm the Director of Student Development in the Department of Student Affairs. It is a privilege for us to be able to be able to welcome you and to be able to walk this journey with you, with your children, as in the next few years. So I would like, it takes a team effort to be able to do the kind of support that we do at UCT. So there are a range of services which are geared towards addressing the needs of students. And while we all play different roles, we have a common goal of the welfare of the UCT student. In terms of how we're going to structure this session, I'm going to ask each of the speakers, I'll introduce them as they come up, and then they'll have 5 minutes to just briefly share with you what these services are. I want to direct your attention to the stalls that we will be having in the Leslie Social Science later on, where you will be able to go and visit these services in addition to all the other services that we offer at the university. So if you have any questions, then that is the time where you can go ask your questions. You can have one-on-ones with the staff members who are at those stalls. So we're just going to have each member, I'll call them up one by one and they'll speak. And then at the end of the session, I will then tell you what the next part of the program is. So thank you very much for your time and for your attention. And I will also just emphasize one thing that Mr. Pillay spoke about and the VC also touched on, and that's the issue about asking for help. And so these are the individuals and in addition to all their teams, as well as the people in the Leslie, these are the people that we're encouraging your children to ask for help. Even if they just have information, but we also find that students are afraid or they don't feel confident to ask for help, and we really want to encourage that if there's one thing that you can take home, it's that you must encourage your children to ask for help, because these services are set up exactly to support the students. So without much further ado, I would like to call up our first speaker, who is Dr. Memory Mutariki, who is the Director of our Student Wellness Services. Thank you, Memory.
Good morning. I will only take 3 minutes of the time because we have a wonderful big stall outside where we can discuss all the health and well-being for the students that we support through the Department of the Student Affairs. So going to university is an exciting time for any student. It's a time of newfound independence, freedom, and discovery. But it brings along a whole new set of responsibility, from managing your own time to dealing with peer pressure and also the risks that come with experimenting in new relationships. But fortunately, here at UCT, we do have a team of health professionals with the aim to help students cope with stressful times. The Student Wellness Service offers a comprehensive wellness service that is a model aligned to the World Health Organization's primary health care norms and standards. The Student Wellness Service is located on various campuses of the university in the form of clinics and also satellite service points. We are here to help students with any medical, psychological, psychosocial issues impacting on students and to support their academic success. We have a medical team that is comprising of primary healthcare nurses and doctors that do manage. I must just unpack this list so students have an idea what we really do. Common ailments, for example, colds or headaches, manageable chronic medical conditions such as, for example, asthma, and also perform minor surgical procedures within our medical team. We support women's health, reproductive health, and also provide pregnancy advice. Men's health, also medical circumcisions, as well as free HIV counseling and testing, management and referrals to specialists and to hospitals. And in terms of emergencies, those are also managed and assessed and referred as necessary. We have a dispensary in our main primary health clinic, which provides essential medication, which are prescribed by our health practitioners. A psychiatrist within the team also provides specialist treatment to students who have chronic psychiatric conditions, and the students would have to be referred from within the staff in the Student Wellness Service. Our psychological team offers group therapy, individual therapy, long-term support groups, trauma debriefing, and mental health education. Some examples of our individual therapy that focuses on various challenges and diagnoses are and include anxiety, depression and suicidality, adjustment difficulties, and relationship issues. And some examples of our long-term support groups include the long-term psychotherapy support group for students who are on chronic treatment, and also a final year postgraduate support group, undergraduate support group, and adjustment groups in various residencies on campus, in faculties, the groups take place. Trauma debriefing is offered to students experiencing compromised functioning after traumatic event. And counseling services are available on most campuses of the university, and the various service points can be located on the Department of Student Affairs website. The appointments can be made in our main primary healthcare clinics. However, all other service points on the different campuses are on a walk-in basis for ease of access. Our social work services offers individual casework, family liaison, and family therapy, as well as liaison with internal and external resources. Also, student development programs such as exam preparation and time management. And also the preventive health promotion, health awareness, including mental health outreach programs that take place within the faculties, in residencies, and in other places where students are found, such as clubs and societies. After hours, we have services, because the primary healthcare services operate during the working hours, but after hours, there is support that includes the student care line, which is a collaboration with the South African Anxiety and Depression Group. It provides a 24-hour telephonic counseling. It is accessible through a toll-free landline number, or students can text and a counselor will call them back. The student care line is accessible from any part of the country, so if the student is outside of the province on vacation, they can access counseling through the student care line. The Student Crisis Intervention Service also supports students within residencies after hours, including weekends, public holidays, and during the vacation.
The service is offered by a team of psychiatric nurses who provide containment, counseling, trauma debriefing, and facilitate hospitalization where need be in line with the Mental Health Act. The university also has in place on standby 24-hour ambulance services for all medical emergencies that occur on the campus. All our clinical staff are bound by professional boards to uphold patient confidentiality. No information, be it medical, psychological, or psychosocial, will be disclosed to parents, lecturers, or any person without the student providing written consent. So at this moment, at orientation, seeking medical advice might not seem like something an emerging, young, independent adult wants to do. But the truth is, all of us, regarding of age, will run into situations where support and guidance is just what we need. Our advice as student wellness is that parents should advise and encourage students to talk to a health professional and do so early. We are here to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Memory. I would now like to call Dr. Sayan Alves from the Office of Inclusivity and Change to address us. Thank you. Let's give her a hand.
Good morning, parents. On behalf of the Office for Inclusivity and Change, we thank you and your children for choosing the University of Cape Town. I am the Director for the Office for Inclusivity and Change, a parent to two amazing children, and a proud alumni of the University of Cape Town. The Office for Inclusivity and Change provides critical support, prevention, and response services to your child during their time here at UCT. We provide the following services to staff and to students: disability services, cultural change programs, prevention and education programs, discrimination and harassment services, sexual assault support, and related services. In the unfortunate event of a student being affected by violence, sexual assault, or discrimination, our office provides support to the student firstly by assisting the student in receiving medical services and referring the student for psychotherapy. Secondly, we provide students with the option to choose a disciplinary route or a conflict resolution route. We also ensure that no contact orders are provided by the UCT legal office if the student requests one. Our office also provides 24-hour standby assistance for any student that experiences sexual assault or violence. Unlike other universities, UCT assists staff and students who have experienced sexual assault at any point of their life. This means even if the incident took place a long time ago, not even at UCT, the student will still be able to receive the same level of support, care, and professionalism. The Office for Inclusivity and Change provides comprehensive disability services. If your child has a physical, mental, or intellectual disability, we will strive to put the student first by ensuring that we implement reasonable accommodations to eliminate or reduce barriers experienced by the students with disabilities. These measures include technical support through assistive devices, such as hardware or software, and assistive services, which includes human support. We also liaise with course conveners and other academics to help adapt their teaching practice so that the learning program becomes more accessible to your child. If your child has a physical disability, we can provide accessible transport to your child within a 10-kilometer radius from your home or residence here at UCT to the campus. The accessible transport service operates from 6 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock, Monday to Friday, and 6 o'clock on a Saturday until 4 p.m., which ensures that your child can access the UCT library during the evening attend a UCT Student Society meeting, and participate in the co-curricular program provided by UCT. Our interaction with students with disabilities is a partnership and includes conversations around the best possible support we can provide to the student in order to maximize inclusion and academic success. Please be assured of the range of services available in the Disability Service that will support your child throughout their academic career. I have not shared much detail about the assistive devices and human support available, so I do encourage you to please visit the stall where you're able to access our information pack and ask us questions that specifically relates to the support your child may need at UCT. If your child is in residence, the prevention and education work provided by our office provides them with the necessary skills that they will need to have in order to navigate diversity issues and discrimination in life. We have also seen these skills become useful for students in the workplace and during internship placements. Through our office, your child has an opportunity to become involved in the university life by becoming a peer educator, a survivor support officer, or a volunteer in the disability services. The skills gained in these programs are reflected on their academic transcripts, so they not only leave with a degree, but soft, critical skills that the workplace and industry is looking for. In conclusion, please do not hesitate to contact me directly if you or your child have any concerns related to their disability or discrimination, violence, or diversity matters. My contact details are available at the Office for Inclusivity and Change stall, and I will be available after the session to answer any further questions. We are committed to your child's academic career and providing services and support that they need to achieve their degree at UCT. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sa'an. Now the next two speakers are sort of going to do theirs together. So we firstly have financial aid, and that's the director of the Student Funding and Administration Office is Ms. Cindy Nchungwana, who was our program director earlier. And then immediately I will ask the director who's going to talk about student fees, who's the director of Risk, Compliance and Relations Management, Mr. Shai Magoba, to immediately then come up because the fees and funding issue sort of goes together. Thank you.
Morning again. I wanted to come first because my one is very brief. I had the Office of the Financial Aid and Administration in the Department of Student Affairs. So therefore, I am responsible for the student funding. If you are here this morning and you have not applied for any form of funding, you have kind of missed the boat. But that is not the end. There may be a very gentle and generous funder who can come along. So you must register, your child must know this office in the event, although we don't want the student to stress about funding. So mothers and fathers must stand up and allay the fears from the student by taking up that responsibility of making sure that funding is available. And our office is responsible for the NSFAS, is for the donors, generous donors that we are hoping that this relationship that is starting today will not end in the 3, 4, 5, or 6 years that your child will be here. You will be able, at some point, if not immediately, offer something in the form of a donation so that the next student who is less fortunate than your child can benefit from the financial aid or from the donation that you are going to offer. We've got an office that knocks at every door dedicated to do that in the alumni and development. Thank you, Edwina. So my office is responsible for NSFAS, whose threshold, it's very important, is a gross amount of 350. Not a gross amount for the mother, for the father, a joint. So don't come to our office and say, I'm a single mother, but I'm earning $1 million. So you are as good as a double family. You're not a single mother in terms of income. So we don't consider the fact that you are a one parent or you are a single father. We don't consider that. We look at the amount, at the need. So if you did not know that there is such support, come to our offices. I'm not promising anything, but I will not know your situation. If during the year, the unfortunate thing happens that you lose your job, that one of you dies, in other words, the income drops from the $1 million that we could not fund to 350 or to 240, then come along during the year so that we can advise further. So if you have not received anything for 2019 and you are active in 2019, you might get something for 2020. If there are any opportunities that come along, you will be known, as you will hear from our offices what they offer and when and how to come. I want to end my small talk, as I call my colleague to the fore, that there's a kwaito song that says, "Uyoyithola kanjani mawuhlele koneni?" It means if you are sitting in that corner, how will you get? So encourage your child to inquire about this. Whether you've got the need for funding, it might not be now, but in the future, there might be a need. So if they don't run around, like the VC has said, if they don't come and we know about their circumstances, they will never be able to get some help. Thank you, Edwina.
Good morning. My name is Shai Makhuba. I'm director responsible for risk compliance and relationship management. Part of my responsibilities also extend to the fees office. Always very difficult to speak about fees, especially following Umam Cindy, as we affectionately call her, as well as the Vice-chancellor. But I think between the two of them, they did quite a great deal in terms of explaining the importance of UCT's fees. The question that we always get, without exception, beginning of every academic year, is why are UCT's fees relatively expensive compared to the others? And I guess the Vice-chancellor did a great deal in terms of explaining that on paper, there's a lot that is not disclosed from other universities, so you might not be able to see the full cost. So what we call at UCT is a single inclusive fee. What you see on paper is what you pay. But I thought maybe it's important to understand a little bit how universities are funded so that you can get the whole picture. There's 3 sources of funding for universities. The first one is government subsidies. Second one, student fees. And the third one, what we call third stream income. Third stream income comprises of investment income, interest income, donations, as well as some research contracts. But the first 2, government subsidies and fees, are quite important. And just to touch a little bit on government subsidies, we get our subsidy from April until November. So we get a subsidy for 8 months. What it means December, January the following year, February, as well as March, there's absolutely nothing coming from government. And that's why fees becomes very important. So in terms of the fees, it depends on the program that the student will be studying. But what is key, and what you must all know, is that the first initial payment, and by the way, it's not a registration fee, it's a first initial payment towards the cost of tuition for 2019, is due on or before the 1st of February 2019. A student can still register without paying that first initial payment, but there's going to be an 8% penalty. So it's important to try to avoid that penalty by paying on or before the 1st of February 2019. That is for tuition. There's an additional charge if a student is going to go into a university residence, and it depends where they'll be staying. If they are in a catering residence, there's an additional 31,000 that needs to be paid. If it's a self-catering residence, there's an additional 20,000 that needs to be paid. So that is what is important for now. There's chops and changes in terms of the student programs as they progress in the year. So the fee statements will normally send around March. So that's when you'll be getting it. And as much as the student is important at UCT, for us, the fees office, the fee payer, the parents, is very important to us. Very, very important. So I need to emphasize that when the students fill in their details as we capture the registration, the first email account must be your email account as the fee payer. So please insist on that so that you do get that statement. We do get a lot of parents year after year saying, I never got the statement. If you don't get the statement, the information is still available on the website, but we do make sure that each and every fee payer gets a statement. What parents often do is that they'll use their work email account, which sometimes change jobs. So please, when you change jobs, remind your son and daughter to update your details. I think the safest thing to do is to use your personal email, your Yahoo or your Gmail email. I think that remains constant whether you change jobs or not. We've got a stall outside, and I'll be able to provide more details. You can see I'm really dressed for the occasion. I'm really dressed to be outside and engaging with you. Comfortable shoes, jeans, T-shirts, so I'm hoping to meet a lot of you outside so that I can share more in terms of the fees. The wonderful things that UCT provides, that the VC that Mam Cindy mentioned, it's only possible because of your commitment to pay fees. Without that, UCT would not be able to provide the same offering that we've provided to the past generation. So financial management is very important at UCT. Most importantly, if you want to know how we manage our finances, we have an annual report. Every university, every public university in this country is compelled to produce an annual report, which has a section dealing with the finances. And you can see from that annual report how we manage our finances. And I'm happy to say that there's never been any adverse findings in relation to how we manage our fees. So you can be sure that the fees that you'll be paying, it goes towards making sure that UCT can still maintain its quality offerings. So the first initial payment I've indicated, that applies to most South African and SADC students. Of course, with the SADC student, there's an additional administrative levy, but there is an initial payment that is slightly different for international students, and I'll be able to share the details with, if we do have international parents and international students today that want to know more about that information. But everything that I've emphasized, it is there in our fee booklet, and I'll be happy to take the questions later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you to both Cindy and Shai. Let's give them another hand. Thank you. I would now like to call up Mr. Glenn Van Zyl, who's the manager in student housing, to talk to you about university residences. Thank you.
Molweni, goeiemorgen, good morning. As I've been introduced, I'm Glenn Van Zyl, the manager of student housing. I'm a product of UCT and also of the residence system, something I'm very passionate about and where I spent my best years as a student. And I'm speaking specifically this morning to those parents who will have children in residence, and especially those who may be from outside the South African borders who will be joining us in res. I'm a proud parent of an 18-year-old young lady. There are at least 2 of the resident staff I'm aware of in the audience today, and I'm very proud that their children have also come to UCT and will be joining yours on this campus. We will be sharing with you the anxiety, the separation anxiety, the excitement, and also watching their growth and development on campus. And for those of you, especially in residence, so that their dreams can be fulfilled. I know that my colleagues in student housing are professional. The wardens have all been through an academic process themselves, a minimum of an honors degree, master's, some PhD, some beyond. Others work in the administration or support services, and then we have professional staff as well. And they are there to support your child during this journey. Residences are supportive environments, and studies have shown that those students who stay in res tend to fare a little better than those who may live at home and in digs. And that's because we provide structures. There are structures available to those who are in digs or at home, but it's nicer to have it on your doorstep. Some of the physical support, and I'll just run through these very quickly. They get a room, single or double. In China, by the way, it's 4-8 to a room, so we in Africa are quite lucky. Standard furniture, we've got a front desk or reception area, and that's usually the nodal point, and you'll see that when you do go to the reses. There's study space, there's security, transport through the shuttle system, sports, health and safety through fire drills, quarterly inspections. We unfortunately in residences do not provide a cleaning service in the rooms. They're not self-cleaning, so please do ensure that your children are aware of that. The quarterly inspections kind of give us a bit of a feedback as to whether or not it happens. Laundry services in the sense that they have to do it themselves. That doesn't mean the dirty laundry goes in the top of the basket and the clean comes out the bottom, as it during my student days. However, there are computer labs as well. But the important thing, those are all the physical services that are there, but it's the wardens, the sub-wardens, the res associations, house committees, mentors, tutors, and the students, except for the sub-wardens, are non-paid jobs. And those are leadership opportunities that are available to your children as they move through the system. They help guide them with regard to the value system the university and society subscribe to create global citizens, graduateness, and building a community. And a lot of the activities in the residence are around that. There are disciplinary committees chaired by the warden. There are outreach programs, leadership training programs, and a lot of positive reinforcement. I'm not going to cover the services that student wellness have already covered, but maybe just to add that we do have an after-hours psychiatric nurse on duty for emergencies to help wardens and sub-wardens. A couple of things to consider. Students can bring a 120-liter fridge, no bigger please, but they've got to arrange their own storage. They need a padlock, a minimum of a 38mm shank, and 4 photographs. Those are the essential things, but the stall outside will give you more detail. 2 last things, no bar heaters, no smoking in res or cooking. And then please do check on the closing dates of the residences. Students leave 72 hours after their last exams, and reses close for the first semester on Sunday, the 9th of June. The stall has got the dates. We open on Sunday, the 7th of July, and we close again on the 16th of November. And then lastly, just to reassure you, I and the staff, resident staff who are present here today, will share the journey with you, and I look forward to, in 3 or 4 years, sharing your child's graduation, as I will do my own, in the same hall, and please feel free to direct any questions to the staff at the Student Housing and Res Life stall. Thank you.
Thanks to Glenn, and I would now like to introduce Ms. Ingrid Smith, who is the manager in the who's the head, Careers Advisory Services, and it's Ingrid van der Merwe. Thank you, Ingrid. Let's give her a hand.
Good morning, everybody. What I see in front of me are people who have had information overload and are in need of tea. So I will be brief. We are a free service to UCT students, and I'm not going to tell you a lot about what we do because I want to encourage you to go to our stall to find out the actual activities that our students can partake in with our office. But we're very pleased and proud that our DVC visited Davos and was involved in discussions to do with skills in the fourth industrial revolution, because all of the work that we do is based on preparing your student sons and daughters to be prepared for that world of work that they're going to go into. So we try and help students to understand, together with our partners, which are academics, employers, student services, and obviously the students themselves. We help them to understand that how to develop skills, and that skills are not only developed in your degree, but through the whole university experience. And you've heard a lot about well-rounded students, and our office helps students to articulate those skills and understand them and be able to reflect on them so that they can be employable on graduation, whether that's in a formal job or whether that's in a job that they've made for themselves, employing other people. So as I said, I was going to, when I thought I had time, going to tell you all about what we did, but it's a whole mix of expos and entrepreneurship games, mock interview programs. Students can come and see us. And we really work on the principle of helping students to explore, to build, and then to prepare for the transition to the world of work. At this time of year, lots of students, first-year students, come in and see us because they're sometimes a bit unsure of their choices. And we run a walk-in service because they cannot yet book online because they have to be registered and their registration has to be verified for them to book online. So we make allowance for this, and we have a lot of staff on duty for walk-ins. I just want to give you a few tips on how you can help them as parents. Remember that they are being bombarded by information, and not only information, but by just experiential overload. So we actually go light on the information that we tell them because they are here for the rest of their time at UCT to develop their career. So as parents, you can help them to encourage them to see us if they are unhappy with their choices. It's really much better if that happens earlier than later. Very important. Don't nag them about what career they're going to go into with what they are studying. Some courses have outcomes that are obvious. If a degree does not have an obvious outcome, that does not mean they've narrowed their choices. Their choices are far greater than you may imagine. The subject matter of their degree will not necessarily dictate the job that they do. The rest of their time at UCT will be used to research career options. So if you put pressure on them at this time of their lives, it will just cause additional stress to them. So leave that to us. We will help them to develop their career while they're here. And just lastly, to sort of reiterate what other speakers have said, remember that's their journey. You may have aspirations of things that you might have done that haven't come true. Don't put that on your sons and daughters. Remember, it's their journey, and it's really healthy for you to encourage that in them as well. So be assured that you've come to the university with the best career service in the country. We've been voted that by employers for the last 10 years as the best career service at a university. We've actually got the award ever since the award was introduced. So please visit our stall, and thank you very much for coming, and welcome to UCT.
Thank you so much, parents. I think you must give yourselves a hand for your energy and for your attention. I know it's quite a lot of information to take in, and there's a lot more that you're going to be experiencing today. But remember, your children are also going to be walking this journey of orientation, and while theirs is going to be spread over a longer period of time. So we really want to thank you and appreciate you for your time and your attention. I just have a few announcements to make, but I would like to thank everyone here who has provided information to you, and they have made themselves available. If you have any questions as you are leaving, then please feel free to come and ask them. But remember that we have the stalls that you can go and visit later on in the Leslie Social Science Building. But there are a few announcements before we close. You can also, I think in your packs you have information and there are email addresses. So feel free if you have any questions and maybe you haven't asked them to any individual, you can email any of those email addresses in your packs. After, we will now go to refreshments, which will be in the Molly Blackburn, and you will be directed which way to walk to the Molly Blackburn. It's as you go out, and it's to your left, to my left, actually. And then, after refreshments, orientation students will be waiting at the bottom of the steps to guide you. Now, they're wearing the bright, they're wearing yellow. I think you've seen them around. And they will guide you to the Leslie Social Sciences Building for the Dean's Talks. Now, the Dean's Talks are very important, and it's important for you to know which faculty your child is in. And so I'm hoping that you know which faculty so that you know, and you know where the venue is. If you don't know, then please ask one of the orientation leaders. If you have a student in humanities, that venue has been changed, and we will ask those parents who are meeting with the Dean of Humanities to return to this hall. So humanities will be in this hall after the refreshments. UCT branded merchandise is also available for purchase at the Protea bookshop stall at the Leslie Social Science. And then you may now go and enjoy refreshments at the Molly Blackburn. And we want to thank you for your attention and just give yourselves a final round of applause. Thank you.